Welcome back to Omnifactory. Got a few updates here to tell you about that happened since the last episode. I've got a new set of blast furnaces. I had one over here and it just wasn't fitting in to expand it, so I went ahead and built 4 more, combined them with the wall sharing. And let me show you how I did that. Be anything in this wall and this wall except for the coils and casings. So that means all of your functional blocks have to be in this middle column. We always need a machine controller here on the bottom, and the other 2 bottom blocks that I did are the power input. Along with the machine controller, I've got 2 energy input hatches, and then here underneath in the basement I've got the CEF powering the 2 energy input hatches, and that's duplicated 4 more times for a total of 5 blast furnaces. So here on the top of each blast furnace I've got 3 functional blocks for each blast furnace. I've got 2 input buses and 1 output bus. So my items are going to go in the 2 input and come out there. And show you how I have these automated. Currently I've got 3 of the blast furnaces already dedicated to passively working on aluminum, energetic alloy, and vibrant alloy. I've got 2 more that I haven't yet set up. That'll happen shortly. So here for the aluminum, I just have the aluminum dust and an interface which gets sucked into the input bus, and the output bus ejects it back into this interface, which goes back to my AE2 system. The next one's a little more complicated. I've got gold in one and energetic blend in another. When you have 2 items to go into a recipe, when you're doing it passive, you have to be careful that you don't overload the bus with all of one type, leaving no room for another type. There's several ways you can solve this, but I like the simplicity of just making 2 interfaces and 2 import buses and input 1 item into each interface. Now on another note, I've also put a crafting card in the gold interface and here in the energetic blend, and I'll show you why in a little bit. I was also running out of steel and dark steel, so I went ahead and created a dedicated alloy smelters to passively create these ingots. Now I choose to passively create items that take a long time. So you can see here the steel recipe is 10 seconds, and that'll overclock to about 5 seconds per ingot. But when recipes require 20 ingots, I don't want to wait, a whole minute to get just the ingots crafted. I've got the same thing here for dark steel and for end steel. So unlike an active craft, the passive crafting doesn't automatically make all the downstream ingredients unless you have the crafting card in there, like this. When there's a crafting card in here, it says, oh, these gold ingots, if I don't have any in stock, I'm going to go ahead and use a pattern and make them. That's why I have the patterns over there, and it gets made in here. Now crafting cards can be very dangerous performance wise. It has to do with looking up the pattern every tick, and if you have deep patterns, it'll cause a huge performance problem. My patterns are 1 level deep, where it's just making the dust for the energetic blend and the gold ingots, and over here for these I've got a couple crafting cards as well. There's a crafting card here for endstone dust and a crafting card for the coal dust, and over here you can see the coal pop in here every 5 seconds or so. So you just have to be careful. You don't want to do a crafting card for, say, a tier 3 processor, because every ticket is going to look at that entire recipe tree and bog your system down. But crafting cards for short little items like a dust or something is perfect. Choosing the passive item is just a play choice. Some people like to passive more things like circuits or wires just so they're always on hand, and other people don't want to passive anything at all. I think just doing the stuff that takes the longest and is not easy to parallelize works for me. Now the reason we did spend so much time last episode on the fluids is so that we could make the SMD components, the transistors, resistors, capacitors, and diodes. Every one of these requires polyethylene to craft. So what I've done here, I've set up two assemblers that are stocked with polyethylene via the fluid bus here and a pump pulling it in. And then on the right, now I can add in patterns for the things I need. I've got the two of the SMDs here and two of them here, and I actually put in a HV machine hole in this one as well. Now the next few things here on these SMD components, I don't have a good source of annealed copper yet or gallium plates. Okay, what we're going to do next is we're going to automate annealed copper. So one of the things I have to do is I have to take out one of these regular import buses and drop in the fluid hatch like so. Then use the wrench to turn it up, and I'm going to put on a regular interface and a fluid interface like so. Connect them up with the cable like that, and now they're online. And the item one, I'm going to drop the copper, and in the fluid one, I'm going to drop a bucket of oxygen. Bucket of oxygen. Alright, and it should be working now. Perfect. And if we come around here to the output hatch, it is making annealed copper ingots. Now the output bus will automatically eject into an adjacent inventory. You can use a chest or an interconduit to pipe it back into another interface. I just put another interface directly on it like that for simplicity. And then here on my level emitter on the front, I just need to put in one copper and set the emitter to about 1,000. That should be good. Oh yeah, and invert it when it's below the limit I specified. Alright, the next thing I'm going to work on is the multi-smelter. This smelts 32 items at a time much faster than your old diamond furnaces or anything like that, and it's going to be super easy to automate. So let me get started on that. Okay, let's get the multi-smelter built. Shift right click on it and it'll show you the layout just for reminders. There we are, done, complete.